Virginia International Raceway is one of the most iconic road courses in the United States, known for its rich history, challenging layout, and exciting door banging racing. VIR was originally constructed in 1957 and opened its doors to the public in 1958. It was built as a road course for sports car racing and quickly gained popularity among racing enthusiasts. Throughout the 1960s, VIR hosted numerous prestigious races, including events for the Sports Car Club of America and NASCAR. The track became a regular stop for many prominent racing series and attracted top drivers of the era. Despite its early success, the track fell into disrepair and was closed in the early 1970s. For several years, it remained dormant and was nearly forgotten. In the late 1990s, a group of investors recognized the potential of VIR and undertook a significant restoration project. The track was reconfigured and reopened in 2000, revitalizing its status in the racing community. Since reopening, VIR has become a popular venue for a variety of racing series, including the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and the Motor America Series, and various club racing events. The track is celebrated for its scenic views, rolling elevation changes, and challenging corners, making it a favorite among drivers, iRacing enthusiasts, and just general racing fans. So today, I'm in the Audi TCR. Hope you enjoy this racing. I know I certainly did. Started off initially in P5. And I'm in the Audi. So on this opening lap, lose a position, but you have to be patient because the tires are cold, and gonna wait till they come up to temp before you can really go full throttle, and power into and out of the corners. This part of the course here is extremely exciting. It's one of the longest straights where you are full throttle through these S's. In the TCR, though, you do have to brake for this little left-hander bend coming up to where the old oak tree used to be in the old iRacing map. Well, in the TCRs, the draft isn't that great. This track in this layout does provide a few overtaking opportunities. This little chicane up here, where you have to kind of brake uphill, and then you have this really slow right-hand turn, presents a great opportunity if you can outbrake someone, if you dare. And then for me, coming around here to the start-finish line, and that is one lap. So now the tires are coming up to temp. Be a little bit bolder now going into turn one. Turn one does present another great opportunity. So that car outbraked himself, which is easy to do, as you will see yours truly have a similar mishap a little bit later on in this race. So now I moved up to P4. And just being patient. The Audi straight line speed in the TCRs is very fast. Where the Audi falls a little short is, I think, sometimes in the slower turns, because you're limited in the gear ratio in the Audi. And then once the tires are up to temp, you can take this turn. Really, really feels good in the Audi TCR once the tires are up to temp. Then long straightaway here. Really wish they had a little bit better draft. But it's a 30-minute race. Still have plenty of time to figure out where am I a little bit faster. Make sure you stay consistent and begin to close that gap. Get yourself in position to either take advantage of a mistake or be bold and outbrake someone into a corner. 2 laps in the books. Come again through the start finish. Able to close the gap down a little bit more going into turn 1 for me. In this complex here, it can be technical because there's a lot of time to be had if you get it just right. As you can see, the driver in front came out with a little bit more time than I did coming out of that complex for me. This course has a lot of elevation change, almost like a roller coaster. Just coming off the highest point of the course there. As we come through the final turn, coming back around to the start-finish line. So at this point, still sitting in fourth. Went a little deep for me into that turn. And you'll see I lose a position because I went really deep into that turn. Almost overshot it. But tires are warm now and confident I'm able to get this position back in short order. So continuing along, coming up to, we'll call it the left kink, up to what used to be the old oak tree curve, I believe is what this complex is called here, these 2 corners. Then we get our run down the long straightaway. I believe it's called the Snake. Through the South Bend. May have mixed up my corners a little bit there, so apologies. And then coming back around to the start-finish again. settled back into P5. And it's about now where I'm really starting to
Track temperature is increasing. It's now 122 Fahrenheit.
Well, it's probably my third race this week at VIR. One of which ended me getting a slap on the wrist from iRacing because of my fruity language on the radio. Oh well, that aside, first time for everything. Around Oak Tree Curve. And it's at this point starting to wonder, will I ever close the gap to P4? But gotta be patient. Continue putting a few good laps together, and I'm sure some good things will happen. Still P5. And you see on the relative times a little bit faster than the cars ahead of me. They're in a little bit of a train here. They're not fighting. They're being patient with one another. However, I think the Red Bull livery Hyundai maybe lapping a little bit slower, which was allowing this, allowing us to all come together. So, getting pretty close to being on the bumper of Daniel in short order. So now it's just about let's remain mistake free. Really making a good time here for this little left-hand kink. To catch it right, you can really come hard on the accelerator right up until the old Oak Tree Curve here. And right now you see I'm right on the bumper of Daniel. It's funny, as I've gotten better in racing, I used to be scared to follow too closely. Had trouble if you're not as confident with the course. Sometimes you may not have that confidence about hitting your marks and hitting your apex. So I certainly have gotten a little bit better. Don't mind following too closely, especially when the driver ahead of you have a lot of confidence in their ability that they'll be relatively mistake-free. Gives you even more confidence, when you see their rating, that you can race them close, you can race them hard. Now here was interesting. Looks like we had a little bit of a mistake by the Red Bull livery car up front. So we really get close to this little complex here. So for me, just want to make sure I hit my marks. Let's get a really good clean exit coming out of this next complex here, which will set me up really nicely if I'm able to get a good run coming out of that corner. Right on Daniel number right here. You see there's a less than a second between both Daniel and Wilson ahead of Daniel, so we're really close together here. And I will say for me, it's the one thing that the TCRs, they really, because they're a little bit slower and because they're a little trickier being a front-wheel drive car, you have to be patient on exiting and accelerating when you're exiting a turn. Front-wheel drive cars tires don't like to do two things at once. Now, I was really doing well into turn one. So for maybe one lap where turn one comes up and bites me. But in general, it was a good turn for me. Just continuing to be patient. It's a 30-minute race. So looking at doing about 16 laps in total. So we're about halfway through the race right now. All taking different lines, as you can see, through the tree curve. I was trying to open it up a little bit more so that I get a little bit better run down this long straightaway. Now I kind of peek as if I may take a run up the left side. He doesn't react to it. And I just make sure I hit the apex here. Get a good strong exit. You can really power out of that left-hander. Gotta come off the gas here, a little bit of brake to rotate the car around, and now you're hard on the gas all the way down into turn one. It looks like Wilson a little bit slower. Daniel got a good run. Daniel got a great one coming out of that last turn. Now, somebody has to make a decision here. Do you back out? Do you go 2x2? And they collide. I was able to avoid it. Unfortunately, Wilson's out of the fight. And that's always a tough decision. Do you want to fight for your position? You're fighting for position. You also don't want to go too slow because you know you're losing time, and you're going to lose time when you go into a corner. So it's always a balancing act. Give up the position, go to fight another guy, try to fight for that position. And unfortunately, racing incidents will happen. So now, I've been driving behind Daniel now for quite a number of laps. There's a couple of spots I think I have a great opportunity for overtaking. So, thinking right now, let's get close as we can, put some pressure on him. Maybe he may outbrake himself into turn one, maybe into Oak Tree, but just put the pressure on. So that's kind of my thought process right now is like, let's get as close as we can, stay on his bumper. Still got 30 minutes. Looking at a podium. So he made a mistake there. I take a good run, but again, I don't want to put myself, and I do. So I put myself on the inside to the start-finish. He got really slowed down when he put two wheels on the grass. So going here into turn one, I'm able to get the overtake done and stick it on the apex and close the door behind me. So now sitting in P3, I got P2 ahead of me. And now it's eyes front. And what can you do to get around the guy ahead of you? I haven't driven behind him very much. I do think I am faster than him, as there have been a number of laps where I've had an actual faster time. So I'm thinking at this point, let's just get a read on how he's taking corner and what corner would be the best opportunity for me to get a bumper take down. He takes that really wide, and he missed the apex there. So this whole complex could be a point where I can get really close to him. Now at this point, the leader he's kind of run from on call. Get really close to Angelo right there, almost into the back of him. I think he took that maybe a little bit slower than he needed to, but he caught me off guard, and I had to take some evasive action, which kind of inadvertently now opens the gap between us two. But now I know if I'm behind him at that point, let's be careful going into that complex. Maybe this is taking it a lot slower than the cars were ahead of me. So 11 laps in. And the key for me, especially I would say in my last couple of races, is just trying to remain patient. Don't overdrive the car. Pick your spots. Find the best opportunity to take that overtake advantage. So took that corner maybe just a little bit quicker than he did. I've already taken a couple of tenths out of his lead. And I think I could probably take another tenth because I know he takes this chicane a little bit slower than I do. Now that's 12 laps in, 4 to go. Now he goes a little wide here. I hit the apex perfectly. I'm able to stick it on that. It's almost like a double apex turn one. It's not quite, but it kind of feels that way. But I was able to stick it around the entire time. He falls back, gets kind of in a fight with the car behind, and now what should be a P2 and off to the races. We'll see if I can hold this lead. Now I know if you're driving, listen to the spotter. At this point, the champion is front. Let's worry about hitting your apexes, your exits. Keep your exit speed up. That's all I should be thinking about. Let's not worry about what's behind me. They're behind me. They can't catch me. It's very hard to pass in this. Straight away, I have the advantage. The Audi is by far the fastest car in a straight line. So I need to make sure that I am pinpoint accurate with my with my turns, and especially going through some of the slower turns on the course. So I have a lead, almost a half-second lead. Hitting that part really well. Powering out down the hill.
The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 118
to the
Fahrenheit.
South Bend, I believe it's called, as we race back to the start-finish line. Now, of course, I'm looking at my relative. I see that there's a car had an incident within an early race coming out of the pits. I'm like, all right, I have to get around this guy. I'm not paying attention, completely below my braking mark. And I'm in the flippin' grass. P2, P3, P4, P5, all blow by me. I had literally worked my way up to P2, being meticulous, paying attention, and literally in a blink, I flushed it all down the drain. So what do? Do I quit? Which I'm not going to do. You got to get your freaking head down, you dummy. You've already made a big enough mistake. And now, let's get some of these positions back. You definitely know you're faster than at least the next car ahead of you. Let's get up there, get on his bumper, put some pressure on him. Let's at least make up some ground after what was probably one of the most ridiculous things you ever could have done. So, yeah, I'm still burning on the inside, but I know I have an opportunity here to make up some ground. So, 13 laps in the books. We're on lap 14 right now. I am over a second behind P5. But, looks like they were battling a little bit. So in this little part of the, at the highest point here, I literally took almost a full second out of his lead. That one little mistake. And then look, I see that P3 almost went into the grass. So just that quickly, I'm within a second of 3 positions right here. So all is not completely lost, even though I've done my best to really try to flush this race down the frickin'
90 seconds.
Thought about going for a move there, because now it's more desperation time, because we have 2 laps to go. Glad I didn't go for it, because he closed the door on it in a hurry. And now poor Red Bull is really struggling as he's falling back in front of me. So maybe struggling with grip. As the grip does fall off. It was extremely hot all week. Track temperatures well into the 120s all week. So made for quite the slippery track. So that's 1 position down. So now I have my sights set on P4. Had it in my sights before. Let's not blow it again. He goes really wide on Oak Tree Curve. I'm able to stick it to the double apexes. I come out, and that's 2 positions done. Unfortunately, you see Mark up ahead. He's almost 2.5 seconds ahead. So, no pressure on him right
10
now.
seconds.
Can I somehow figure out a way to get myself up to speed
The track
and
temp
to
is
be able to at
170
least apply some
Fahrenheit.
pressure
The air temp is
for against
78.
him in the last couple of laps. So let's not blow your breaking point at this point, since at least I've gained back some positions. So that lead that was 2.5 is down to about 1.5 now. So about a half a lap, took a second out of his lead. Is he feeling the pressure? Are his tires going? Combination of the both? Don't know. I know I have confidence. GPS's, left-hand kink right here. Going into Oak Tree Corner. I know I've been very confident at this point right here. Now we're down to 7/10 of a second, so I'm really reeling him in. Don't have a lot of time left. Can I get close enough to put some pressure on him? Last lap. Get really close to him here. I think I may have an opportunity, but he keeps it in the middle of the track, which is a pretty good position that sets you up for this really slow left-hander right here. He pins it to the apex. So this is really good driving at his point. I have nowhere to go. Can't really get around him. He's hitting his marks. All I can do is keep the pressure on him. We come out of this last complex into the S's. He gets a pretty good run. I was right on his bumper. He opens up a lead. He's almost a half-second lead on me now. Now, I know I'm pretty confident going into this little left-hand kink and into Oak Tree. So I'm thinking I still have a chance here. I let it run a little bit deeper so I can get a really good run coming out of the second part of that turn. Lead is down to 3/10. Now it's a run up to the highest point of the track. So the lead has come down to 2/10. I'm right on this bumper. Do I go for it here? I fake like I do, hoping that he'd make a mistake. He doesn't fall for it. It's really hard to pass there. I think you have to be brave to go around the outside there, which I still don't think I would have been able to make it work. And he gets a really good run out of that part of the course. There's no way I'm catching him to the start finish. So at this point, a little flash of congratulations. It was a nice battle. Really enjoyed this race. Kept it clean with the other drivers, but it was, nice, hard, close racing. And it's the reason why I enjoyed TCR racing so much. So, after what turned out to be a disappointing part of the race, I end up coming in P4. Overall, I had a double green for this race. Only had that one incident, so ended up getting some positive I rating and positive safety rating, which for me is always a plus. Really enjoyed, after a really rough start this week at VIR, that resulted in me getting a little slap on the wrist. I had 3 or 4 other races that were really enjoyable, including a race that I actually won. Didn't show that one because I was in the second split, and I was able to run away from the start. It was probably my first Triple Crown where I had the fastest lap. I had 0 incident points, and I led from start to finish. So it's the first time I've ever had a race like that, but that race wasn't as interesting as this one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.